I think it started even when I was, before I was an adult.
When I was given an outlet as an orphan, small teenager, young man, to experiment in materials and wood and metal and clay, silver as well. Probably, and clay really seemed to be the most honest material I had discovered. And as a teenager, I think I struggled with honesty, as most do. The conditions of my life too led me to really go deeper than most would. And I went straight into to pottery, as I had never experienced anything before. So I was only 15 when I started. Where does it start? Where does the passion start? I was in California. So I was in Southern California, where I was going to high school, in a public school that was well supported with craft and arts and industrial arts. And in that opportunity that they gave me, I found that clay and ceramics was one of the materials that I struggled with the most. I think I pretty much nailed the silversmithing, did well with the metal and the wood, but when it came to a real craft like clay, I found the magic still there. And it took me a long time to continue before I understood what that magic really is. After I became proficient in pottery, I worked in a production studio and developed my own brand of materials, my own brand of pottery, which was fun but had a limited life for me as a teenager. And I started to travel and then explore the United States anytime, any way that I could find a pottery mentor. So I would travel from coast to coast, literally, in my car, stay at potteries with the potter to learn. And I did that, and it became a bit of a routine for me. But then I think I had to escape, and I changed my whole life around dropping ceramics completely and getting into police, actually. And so I went off to become a police officer in Europe and still taught pottery sometime later, but became much more focused on regiment, rules, structure, and that was what I needed in my life at the time, I guess. But when I came back to pottery, it has brought me one of those many skills that I never knew I had, and running this studio is an important part to have, that kind of structural skill. I guess I feel as though the last 10 years I've been in a space that sees the industrialization of art, and this commercialization has never sat well with me. And I've always felt as though I need to break down this barrier that differentiates and restricts people, the real people. Everybody in this room needs to have access to this sort of craft. And that was my motivation, to bring that craft to the people. Pottery Shed is effectively a functioning pottery that has all the operational things in recycling clay constantly, in creating the glazes, in firing the wares. But in teaching, we're bringing about a really focused and highly intense 2-hour program. So the main thing I offer is wheel-thrown pottery, because I just happen to like the wheel. There's many other ways to create ceramics with your hands, and rolling and pinching and coiling. But my passion is strictly in wheel-thrown pottery, mostly because of its intense focus required, and because of its meditative qualities that it has. This spinning artifact in front of you, this balancing, this routine, seems to call to me most strongly, and it felt to me like this is what most people were asking for as well. Those who have families or children or careers, or they're struggling with any of those, and they need something to give them some time out. Every time that a student comes to me after they've given it a good try, after they've really tried to put forward an effort, and it takes maybe a couple of weeks before you realize, before you settle down from being completely overwhelmed by the intensity of it all. Once their emotions settle down, they start to realize that they're really making things. I've had people come up to me in almost tears, with real joy, expressing how they how much gratitude they have for being able to come to a place like this. It doesn't exist anywhere else. A place where you can come right off the street without prior industrial art education, without a lot of money, where you can come off the street without a lot of time. Where if you just need that few moments, that 2 hours where you need to come in here and do something distracting, then this is your opportunity to come in. So I get a lot of people who say, this has changed a lot of things in my life.